Hey there lads and lasses, Jim Bob here. Movie review for you today on Ant-Man and the Wasp. Ant-Man and the Wasp is the 20th adaptation to the MCU. And every time an MCU movie comes out, I'm always excited for it. I always think it's going to be good. I expect it to be good. But this one, I have mixed feelings about it. But I'll get into the main synopsis about that in a minute. But the plot is basically Hank Pym and Hope are trying to rescue Janet, which is the wife, sorry, wife to Hank Pym, who was lost in the quantum realm in the first one, and Scott Lang, Ant-Man, has some crazy vision, and Hope and Hank think that his vision is the key to getting her back, and that's basically the plot of the entire thing. Now, the movie to me felt like filler. It's not bad, but it felt like filler. It's something that didn't really particularly need to happen, and it was mainly just Hollywood's excuse to make an Ant-Man sequel. And I think it could have been done a lot better. But I'll get to that in a minute. The few points I want to talk about first is Ghost. Now, Ghost is the main antagonist for this film, and she is basically, if you think about it, she's not actually a villain. She's the main antagonist for the film, but she's not actually a villain. All she wants to do is to save her own skin, basically, because with her powers and her phasing, with some kind of accident that happened back in the Shield days, she just wants to get better, and she will hurt people and do anything possible to save her own life. That's the bad stuff she actually does, but really she's doing it to help herself, not because she wants to conquer the world or wipe out half the universe or deal drugs or anything like that. She's just basically wants to save her own life. And to me, she is an interesting take on a villain, but there's not much to her as a character. She wasn't compelling. She has a really, really moody look, like she's constantly stressed, which of course she is. And that's about it. I didn't really find her that compelling. I don't really find if I need to like a villain, I need the villain to be not particularly scary, but like you need to fear for the hero's safety when they're going up against this villain. And I just didn't see that with Ghost. But other than that, she's an interesting take on a villain, although she's technically not a villain. Now, the humour is absolutely on point. I was laughing so much in this film, particularly at Michael Pena as Louise once again. I mean, damn, it's true serum. I can't, it was just hilarious, and I found myself like crying with laughter. So I really think that they upped the comedy from the first one, and the comedy was a lot better. And it was great comedic timing. It didn't feel like it was overdoing it slightly, like sometimes Thor Ragnarok would do, although I do love Thor Ragnarok. The humour was on point. Paul Rudd is very, very likeable, and every character pretty much has something funny to say, other than Ghost. She was all serious all the time. Now, to me, a couple of issues I have with this film is, it's positives and issues mixed together. It's more like the Wasp is pretty much the badass in this film. She's the one kicking ass. She's the one making all these cool moves, the one that's jumping all over the place. And Ant-Man is sort of the more pushed to the side, and he's getting his arse handed to him by people. Like, I don't really remember Ant-Man doing anything particularly memorable besides growing incredibly big towards the end. Most of the time, he was mainly there as he spent more time being a complete idiot, not knowing what was going on, rather than actually being a help to the team. And for some reason, to me anyway, it feels like Ant-Man didn't provide much substance to the film other than his vision. And pretty much the film could have continued without him if it weren't for the vision. But Ant-Man and the Wasp without Ant-Man just wouldn't have worked for me. But the Wasp was still really, really cool. I thought the actress, I can't pronounce the name, I do apologise. She is actually really, really good, and she's improved from the first one with the emotion-wise, comedic timing, and everything like that. But Ant-Man sort of pushed to the side, and I didn't really like that much. Now, there are plenty of dumb moments in the film as well, and mainly due to Scott Lang. Like, he just doesn't know what's going on, and for some reason that intelligent version of him that we saw in the first one, not technically with like how tech works or how quantum research works, but more like he was a master thief and he used all these different techniques to break into Hank Pym's house to steal the suit in the first place. You don't see any of that in here. He's mainly just like, I don't know what that means. What? Stuff like that. And it was still really, really funny, but at the same time, you want Ant-Man to be more of a, just pushed to the front a little bit more, but it's great that the Wasp was a show stealer here. Now, a sort of an issue I have with the film as well is Sonny the arms dealer and his bunch of cronies. Like, they are complete cannon fodder. They just are there particularly just to get their arse kicked by Ant-Man and the Wasp. And that's particularly what happens, and they don't provide much substance to the plot, and they're just there to get their arse kicked, and that's basically it. But without these guys, there only particularly would have been Ghost to fight. And, you know, who doesn't love a good scene where there's one person dropping a bunch of guys to the ground at once? It's just amazing. We've seen that so many times in MCU films like Captain America, the Winter Soldier, in the elevator, and everything like that. So that's pretty much what Sonny the Arms Dealer was there for. He wasn't particularly compelling, and he was just a bit dumb. That's about it, really. So the conclusion of the whole film, I was a bit disappointed. I thought it would be a lot better than it was. It doesn't really. It's not better than the first one, if you ask me. The comedy is much funnier, but Ant-Man appears to be a bit more of a doofus in this film rather than knowing what he's actually doing. The Wasp is the show stealer. Ghost is the villain, but not the villain. And overall, the film, I think is pretty good. So I'm going to give it 7.5 out of 10 from Jim Bob Talks Movies. But overall, the first one is better, and it's not the best MCU film we've seen so far, and it's just complete filler. But overall, a very, very watchable film, just like any other MCU film. So, thank you very much, guys. Like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.